Hello friends, in this video I will take you on an incredible journey deep inside the hive to discover the magical process of how honey is made.
Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are going on a totally magical journey to discover one of nature's sweetest treats, honey. It's a story that's packed with teamwork, a little bit of science, and some seriously amazing little bugs.
Have you ever really thought about it? When you're drizzling it on your toast or in your tea, it doesn't just show up in a jar, you know? It's made by one of the most incredible team efforts in the entire animal kingdom.
That's right. For our special science field trip today, we're going to imagine we're shrinking down, getting super tiny, small enough to follow just one busy little bee on her most important mission. Are you ready? Okay, let's do it.
So our adventure starts right here in a beautiful field of flowers. And this is our guide for the day. Meet Bea. She's what's called the forager bee, and her job is to hunt for the perfect ingredient to make honey. So what exactly is Bea looking for? Nectar. It's a super sweet, sugary drink that flowers make. You can kind of think of it as the flower's way of saying, "Hey bees, come over here, I've got a treat for you." And look at how she drinks it. Bea has a really long, special tongue that works just like a tiny straw. It's called a proboscis. She sips up all that nectar and stores it in a special stomach that's just for honey. Let's call it her personal nectar backpack. But there's a big problem the bees have to solve. The nectar they collect is mostly water, with just a little bit of sugar in it. But finished honey is the total opposite. It's mostly sugar and only a little water. So how do they get rid of all that extra water?
And before Bea heads back to the hive, check this out. The kind of flower she visits actually changes the color and even the taste of the honey. White clover flowers make a light, sweet honey, but flowers from a buckwheat plant make a honey that's much darker and has a stronger taste. It's a whole rainbow of flavors.
All right, Bea's nectar backpack is completely full. Let's follow her home. We're going inside the hive now, and whoa, it's like a buzzing, busy honey factory in here. And it's really warm too, which is super important for what's about to happen. Once she's inside, Bea finds a younger bee called a house bee and passes the nectar to her. Now, you might hear some people say that honey is bee vomit, but that's not true at all. Remember her special nectar backpack? It's completely separate from her real tummy where she digests her food. The nectar for the honey never even touches her lunch. And this is where the teamwork gets really amazing. The nectar gets passed from one house bee to the next, like a little nectar chain. And every time it's passed along, the bee adds a little of her own special bee magic. These are things called enzymes, and they start to break down the sugars and turn it into honey.
Okay, get ready for the coolest part of our trip, watching this watery nectar become thick, golden honey. The real secret here is that amazing bee teamwork.
Just to remind you, this is what we're starting with. Nectar is about 80% water. It's super watery. If the bees tried to store it like this, it would go bad really fast. So they absolutely have to get that water out. So, how do they do it? It's this awesome two-step process. First, a house bee will actually push out a little drop of nectar, kind of like she's blowing a bubble. This lets the warm air in the hive start to make some of the water evaporate. Then, once the nectar is put into a honeycomb cell, the second part of the plan begins. And that second step is just incredible. Look at all those bees. They stand near the honeycombs and they fan their wings together, sometimes for hours. This creates a constant warm little breeze that flows all through the hive, carrying all that extra water right out of the honey. And here's the result of all that hard work. The amount of water drops all the way down to about 18%, and that is the perfect amount. The honey is so thick and sugary now that germs and other yucky stuff just can't grow in it. It's perfectly preserved. But why do they go through all this trouble? All that hunting for nectar and passing it around and fanning their wings? It's not for us. It's for the survival of their entire family. It's really simple. Honey is the bees' food. When it gets cold outside and all the flowers are gone for the winter,
The whole colony eats this stored honey to get energy, stay warm, and survive until spring comes back. It's their perfect winter pantry.
When the honey is just right, perfectly thick and sweet, the bees cover the honeycomb cell with a fresh little cap made of beeswax. This seals it up, kind of like putting a lid on a jar, keeping it safe and fresh until they need it. Okay, prepare to have your mind blown. To make just 1 pound of honey, that's about 1 regular jar of it, all the bees in a single hive will fly a combined 55,000 miles. That's enough to fly all the way around the entire planet more than 2 times. All for just 1 jar. Isn't that incredible?
You know, because honey is so well made, it actually has some secret superpowers that are pretty useful for us people too.
For one thing, it basically never spoils. Seriously, archaeologists have found pots of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that are thousands of years old and still perfectly good to eat. And remember those bee magic enzymes? Well, they help honey naturally fight off germs, which is why it can help keep little cuts and scrapes clean.
So what about us getting to enjoy it? Well, good beekeepers are like partners with the bees. They make sure the bees are healthy and have a safe place to live, and they only ever take the extra honey that the bees won't need for the winter. They always leave plenty behind for the hive to eat. And just like that, our amazing science field trip is coming to an end. But I have one last question for you. Now that you know the incredible story and all the amazing teamwork that goes into every single drop of honey, the next time you see a busy little bee buzzing by, what will you think? I bet you'll want to give her a little wave and say, "Thank you."
If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a new lesson.